Hi guys, it's Miss Karen from Seton Hill, New Kensington, and today is October 28th. It's Wednesday, which is the middle of our week. Very exciting. We're going to be talking about a couple different things today that we don't always get to do. We're going to talk about books and their different parts, and we're also going to be doing some gross motor activities. Do you remember what gross motor is? Yeah, gross motors are big arm and big leg movements. And fine motors are fingers. So gross motor is what we're going to do today. So first, I figured we could start with the book stuff. And I made a list of different things about books back here that I figured we could talk about today. So this says book parts. And I wrote the words front, back, spine, pages, how we read, author, illustrator, and title page. If you had to take a guess, and I held up this book, Spookily the Square Pumpkin, that we read last week. I think we're going to read it again today, just as a refresher. What would you say is the front of the book? If you're going to hold it, excuse me, my nose is like, look, tingly today. What is the front of the book? Is it inside here? No. Fronts of books aren't inside. This is the front of the book. It's called the cover. The cover of the book, the front of the book. So if this is the front of the book, where would the back of the book be? Is it over here? Or is this one inside? Is the back inside? No. The back is this part. This is the front, and when you flip it over, this is the back. Usually you'll see like a description of the book or something that tells you about the book on the back. A lot of times there's something like this, like a barcode on the back. So when you buy it, you can scan it and pay for it. So front and back. Now, the tricky one is the spine. Do you know what a spine is? We don't talk about them very often. We have a spine, and so do books. Our spine connects at the top of our neck and goes down our back. It holds us upright, so we don't just slouch like Jello. So spines hold us together, basically. So what would a book's spine be? It's not inside, and it's not up front, and it's not in the back. Spine is right here. This is where all of the book joins together. So if I accidentally took out a couple pages because I well loved the book, the spine would be able to hold the rest of it together. So the spine is where it's all glued together. The next thing on our list is the pages. What are the pages of a book? So we have the front, the back, the spine. Where are the pages of a book? Finally, we get to go inside. These are the pages. They're normally made of paper. Sometimes if you have a cardboard book, they're made of cardboard, but most books, they're made out of paper. Good. I'm going to kind of skip around. I'm going to loop differently than I normally would. So we have a title page. Title page, the tricky one, because the title's written here, Spookily the Square Pumpkin. But the title page is actually inside because remember, it's a page, it's inside. So you'll see in most books, they have the cover. And when you flip it open, there's a title page. It says the same thing. It's pretty cool. There's also a page that tells you all about where they made the book and who made the book, and different information about them, which I always think is super fun to read. This book was made in 2001. That's awesome. Let's see, what other things do we need? Ooh, our author. We've talked about this, so I know you know it. What is an author of a book? The author of this book is Joe Troiano. So what did Joe Troiano do for this book, if he's the author? Right, he wrote the words. So all of these words in here written by Joe Troiano. Then we have our illustrator, which was Susan Bonta. Do you know what Susan Bonta did for this book? She's the illustrator. Right, she drew the pictures. So on some of these pages, she drew all of these beautiful pictures and all the pumpkins and made them all different. So Joe Troiano wrote the words and Susan Bonta drew the pictures. You can even see on here, Joe Troiano made up the story or the title of the book, and Susan Bonta drew this picture. So cool. The next big thing that I have on the list that I wrote at the top here is how we read. Can I just look at a book like this and read it? No. You're not going to get, I'll know what the title is pretty well because I'll just be staring at it. When we open a book, we have to read it like this. Usually people read it right in front of them, like this. Well, me as a teacher, when I like to read to you, I hold it up like this and I read it like this. I kind of turn sideways so you can see the pictures and the words at the same time. So when we read, do we just turn a bunch of random pages and just go wherever? No, that would spoil the book. If you jump from the title page to the middle, look, they're rolling out in the water. We have no idea why, because we skipped a bunch of pages. So when you start a book, you should flip one page at a time. So we flip a page, we have the title page. Then we flip, and this is the first page of the story. First page of the story. And when we read, we start way up here in the corner, go to the end of the sentence, and start back. And then if there's more words on the next page, you go to this page. We do that on every page. Some pages have a whole bunch of words, and some pages only have a couple, like this one. Just depends on how the story goes. This page has both those combined. This one has a whole bunch of words, and this one has very little. A lot of books like this, they really want to show you the pictures so you can say the story. Even if you don't quite know how to read yet, you can kind of still tell what's happening in the story with pictures. That's why illustrators are so important to stories. So I was thinking we could read through this book again, take our time to read it together and learn how to read the books. And we'll see if we can find some stuff inside our book. Are you ready? All right, I'm going to start at the cover, the front of the book. The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin. Flipping open to the first page. Again, the title says The Legend of Spookly the Square Pumpkin. Written by Joe Troiano and illustrated by Susan Bonta. I'll get close so you can see the words. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookly wasn't like his friends, where they had curves, he had ends. Do you remember what shape Spookly was? If they have curves and he has ends, which one is Spookly down there? Little church bells are going off. I don't know if you can hear them. They always sound so pretty. Right, Spookly's down here because he is a what shape? Spookly was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookly the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. S-Q-U-A-R-E. Square. Have you ever seen a square pumpkin before? I don't know if I have. I've seen a square watermelon before. That was pretty crazy. All right, here's the next one. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookly sat there shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookly wished he was round and could roll everywhere. I like to follow with my finger so I know what word I'm saying when I'm saying it. That is until one night when they all discovered it's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. There's sometimes where you try to turn a page and you're not quite sure if you have it all. So if you start reading the next page and it doesn't sound right, maybe try to go back and see if you missed one. The end of the month was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, then off they'd go, bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight. Spookly sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. So we started on this page and worked our way to this page. And we turn the page. There's no words on this page, so we don't have to read any of those ones. We just have to read this one. Suddenly, the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out and into the bay. 1, 2, 3 pumpkins rolled out into the bay. If you don't know what a bay is, sometimes that's part of like a lake or an ocean. It's part of the part by the shore. The bay. Spookly knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried. He finally flipped. He was on his side. So this page tried to trick us because they started up here and then they jumped here and then here and here and here and then back down here. But we knew to follow from the top the whole way to the bottom, even if it's not straight down. This is going to be the same kind of page. They're going to try to trick us. Again, he tipped. Then we jump here. Again, he flopped. Keep going down till you find the next sentence. Again, he flipped. And then, does anybody remember what happened? We read this one last week. Do you remember what happened when he tipped and flopped? Oh, there's no pages or no words on this page, so we're going to skip to this one. He stopped right in the gap where the fence had snapped. See him over there? That was right where the hole was. He blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray!" Spookly the square pumpkin had saved the day. Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. If I want to go on to the next story, do I go this way? Do I flip this way? No, we read that part of the story. We have to flip from this side over here. Over to this side. This page has words on this one, but not on this one, so we just have to read these ones. Then, one by one, a ton of pumpkins piled on the stack, with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash. And then it all went black. Oh my. He's getting squished down there. He's holding all those pumpkins. Turn my page. Oh, look at all these words. It's a lot to read, but it's an important part of the story. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. There's a little Spookly, still wedged in the corner, doing great. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too. But there was brave little Spookly, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there, the farmer knew of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookleys were the most special that he had ever grown. A lot of words for that page. It shows you the farmer who wasn't there yet. He's a character in the story who shows up at the end. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow. And oh, that morning, about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. Well, this one's a tricky one. Can't miss this word, but, ooh, I wonder what that means. Bud. Ooh. This one's going to try to trick us because there's bunches of words everywhere. Some were cubes and some rectangular. Some were flat and others triangular. Go to the next page. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. This is always such a pretty picture. You see all the different unique pumpkins. They're all pumpkins, but they're all different. Just kind of like how we're all people, but we're all different. Now, every year at this time, Spookleys Patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. They then pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. Da-da-da. So this is the last page. You can always tell it's the last page because there's no more pictures or words. So the last page says, now you know the story of how Spookly grew. Maybe someday you'll tell someone too. And they'll go tell someone who will go tell another. And maybe one day we all will discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. That's the perfect way to end this book. Where's the cover of our book? On the front. That's the cover. Huh. So when you're at the very end of the story, sometimes they put pretty like print paper. That's the same print paper that's on the front. Just to add some decoration. That's super awesome. So do you remember? We'll do a real quick little, I don't want to call it a test because it's not really a test. Where's the front of the book? Where's the front? Up here with the title, right? Where's the back? I have my book. Where is its back? Right here. Remember, sometimes the barcode gives you a hint. The tricky part, where's the spine? Remember, the spine is the part that holds it all together. Is it inside? Is it up here? Over here, the spine. It's long and thin on the side. That's kind of how our spines are. They go up our backs, and they're long and thin. What about the pages? Where are the pages in our book? They're in the middle. They're usually made of, excuse me, I got hiccups, paper. I can't stop my hiccups now. Ooh, our title page. We know this is the title, but this isn't the title page, right? No, this is just the cover. The title page is the first page inside. It says the same thing. Who's our author? Joe Troiano. What did Joe Troiano do if he's an author? Joe Troiano. He wrote the words. He made all of these bits. All the parts that we read and follow with our finger. He wrote those. What about the illustrator, Susan Bonta? What did she do? She drew the pictures. Illustrators draw the pictures. Nice job. And then we read what? Can I read it this way? Can I read this way? No, that's the cover. You're bending the book backwards. What about this way? Is this reading the book right? Can't turn it right. There we go. No, it's upside down. We got to turn it this way. And we read from this side to this side. And we start this way. And follow the lines until we run out. Nice job. If you guys wanted to, you could grab any book at home and try to find all those pieces yourself. Try to find the front, the back, the spine of the book, the pages, the author, if it has an illustrator. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes books just have all words. And the title page. I think almost all books have basically all of those things. And then once you find all those things, you could practice how you read. Even if you're not reading all the words, maybe your adult reads them, but you could still trace it with your finger and follow along. All right, I'm gonna pause for a second and we'll get ready to do some gross motor. All right, friends, I have 2 gross motor games for you. I'm not gonna go through like every little piece of it, just so you have time to pause my video and try yourself. You can make, this is the first one, it's called gross motor literacy, which just means kind of like gym with letters. So I made pumpkins with different letters on them. And normally if I was beside the board, I would hang these up. And then whatever letter you see that you go, oh, I know that one, that's the letter A. So we pull it off the board, and each pumpkin on the back says something. Like this one says jump 5 times. So since you said the letter A, you would get up, if I can. There we go. I might not be able to see my whole body. Please go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. And you come back and you find another letter you might know. And you just do whatever's on the back of that letter. Ooh, I just dropped my stuff over on the other side of my desk. Like my letter B. It says roll like a pumpkin. Do you think you can roll like a pumpkin? Make sure you have space. What does rolling like a pumpkin look like? They kind of like, ooh, roll across the ground. Just like Spookly's friends do. My letter C, I put 3 jumping jacks. I have a letter D. I wrote it kind of fast, but it says swim like a fish. My letter E on the back says slow motion dance. Slow motion. Oh, I dropped my pumpkin. It has the letter F on it. It says quack like a duck. Quack, quack, quack. My G pumpkin says run in place and count to 10. You could do the whole alphabet. You could do shapes if you wanted to. I kind of went with alphabet since it's literacy gross motor. Literacy deals with reading and letters. So I made those. You can make them any shape, any color, any size, whatever you want to do. I just decided to make them pumpkins since we were doing pumpkins this week. And yeah, so you can make your own at home and play some crazy gross motor games. So the next game we're going to do is in our learning game book. It's going to be learning game 138, which is actually on the side of page 139. This is the front of that page. It's called Ball in the Bucket. The instructions for this says you get a container, backwards, over here. Container and a ball, or you can use a bucket or tub, whatever you have available. Even if you don't, you can make a hoop out of your arms or something. And you stand a few feet away from the bucket, or you can sit. I'm gonna sit just because I want you to be able to see in my video, but it might be easier for you guys to stand. You'll throw the ball into the bucket and show them. Say, watch me throw the ball. Can you do this? You throw the ball into the bucket. See if you can make it in. And then if you want to make it a little bit easier, you can move it closer to you, or you can make it harder by slowly moving the bucket moving it up and down. You can do all sorts of different things. So I'll show a couple different things you can do with your bucket. So this is my bucket. It's actually some toy bin from our kitchen center. And I'm gonna back up. Beep, 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 beep. I'll sit here. I'm gonna go underhand. And I made it in. Sometimes balls are too bouncy and they fall out. I'm gonna try overhand now. Over. This is under, because my hands are under. And overhand means your hands go over the ball. Over. I'm gonna do over and we're gonna see if it stays in the bucket. I think it'll stay. This ball is kind of bouncy. I'm not sure, we'll have to see. Overhand. Oh, it bounced off the side. One more try since it bounced back. Oh, it did. Nice. You can even put the ball like this, or the bucket like this. You can turn it into a rolling game. It's harder to get it in there. Or I've seen some friends play it where they try to throw it at the basket like this and try to knock the basket over. Oh, I wanted the ball to stay in there, but it didn't knock it over. And it stayed in when I threw it too. Now, if I had another friend, I could have them hold my basket and move it around. My shirt's stuck on my jeans. There we go. Could move it while they're throwing, or do this, or hold it really high. You can't see it. Or do this maybe. You can do all sorts of things to try to trick up your friends who are throwing the ball. Try it out. You can get any ball. We gave you guys a couple balls in your take-home bags to try it out. There should be a pump that comes with them too, so you can blow them up. Yeah. So have some fun. Make up your own games if you want to. And if you do, you can tell me about it on Dojo, or you could leave a comment on the video and see what you guys come up with. Good luck. Have a great day.